Hi. It's still June 10th. Yeah, so it's still the solar new moon eclipse. Solar eclipse with the new moon. I was able to clean and vacuum, and as soon as I'm done with this recording, I'm gonna change and sage the place, and write down my intentions. So I'm gonna do that because I haven't done that in a while. But just an update. So the video that I'm preparing to post for today, I talk about second chances. And it's funny because it's just funny. I think MJ talked about second chances earlier last week, maybe. I don't know. But I had mentioned before new beginnings. I also mentioned new beginnings, and I think I had mentioned how my mom and I are been working on our relationship, right? So it's like a new beginning, and there's definitely a different level of like interaction in a great way, and it's just nice. It's just really nice to experience that with her, and her birthday's this weekend, and you know, we're planning something nice for her, and I'm helping, and yeah. But I wanted to share because I'm helping her load the next video on her YouTube. She's so funny. I love that she's embracing, like, I really appreciate when people take my advice, you know, like, and then I see the growth. I see them change and just start shifting in their thought process, and really embrace that new them, right? It's exciting to see that unfold in front of me. Yeah. And I'm taking in advice too. You know, I mentioned she's really health conscious, and she does a lot of fun food. So I went over today to drop off some stuff for the surprise party that we have planned for her, and she made some, like, they were balls, but they got smashed on the way home. They're like little yummy sweet balls made out of coconut, agave honey, fiber. I mean, they're really yummy, but they got smashed. But they're delicious. And then, you know, I mentioned that she finds like interesting fruits. I forgot what this was called. But supposedly I'm supposed to eat it like a melon. And then she gave me some of these buckwheat noodles. I don't know if you guys could see, like, yeah, buckwheat noodles. And then she gave me some of this, and I forgot what it's called, but apparently it's like quinoa. I'm supposed to cook it like quinoa. It's like a substitute for quinoa. I don't know. So I'm helping her upload her second video. She's so funny. I love that how she's embracing that side of herself. You know, that fun, silly, no restriction side of herself. So anyway, so I wanted to share that. The video that I talk about, I also talk about, gosh, there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about. I forgot. As I was cleaning, I saw this in my restroom, and I forgot about it. In the sense of, like, I'm trying to describe my ways. I think subconsciously I'm still, I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to look for my waves, but I'm going back to the Rose Bowl this weekend. Second chances. I invited this person to come with me this time, and we're actually gonna go together. So I'm excited because he's never been, and he's been really great, and yeah. So I'm excited to take him. I'm excited. I like exposing people to something new. And so I'm really excited that he's coming with, and I have a nice little surprise for him too. But anyways, so speaking of second chances, because I had invited him to one of the markets before, and he couldn't go, or he didn't respond back, so it's like a missed chance, right? Speaking on that too, the video that I'm talking about this fire sign, and we were supposed to meet up today, and missed opportunities. It is what it is. But anyways, back to this. So I describe that sometimes at night I'll get waves too, and sometimes they're purple, like the background, but then other times it's like a black background. And then I talk about how sometimes it's like this glittery, sparkly, I don't remember how I described it, but this is what it looks like. So let me see if you guys, this is what it looks like. So this crystal like movement, so this is what it looks like in terms of like what's in front of the background, and then these are like moving in wave format. So when I've had the dark vision or waves with a black background and the crystal glittery, this is what this looks like. This is the texture that I see in the movement. So these are moving, yeah. So I just want to share that because I was like, oh, that's what that looks like. I was like so excited to see it. I also talk about, one of the things I like about the fact that I'm recording myself and then seeing it, and then as I prepare it, because it also holds me accountable, and I talk about doing the love language quiz again, and I was like, oh, this time I haven't done it. So I did it, and I was a little shocked as to what came out, because touch is no longer my primary love language. If anything, is part of the bottom two. Ooh, I don't know what that means. But and it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense. Acts of service came first at 30%. Quality time came second at 27%. Words of affirmation 17%, and then receiving gifts and physical touch at 13%, which was a huge sucker, because physical touch was my first one. It was always my first one. And then quality time was second, so that one still holds the second one. But it's not high. It's only 27%. And then the other three are like leveling out. And then I was thinking about it, you know, because in that previous video, and I'll put the link to my old video when I talk about like the 5 love languages, and how supposedly it speaks to what you lacked as a child, right? And then I have a question, well, what happens when you resolve those issues? Like, is that still your love language? And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, some of the questions were really hard to pick between, but I often thought about my last relationships, and that's what I looked at. So it's like, so I guess I'm working on healing that part now, like, which makes sense with the retrograde and the partnerships and the relationship piece. It's like the childhood stuff, right? The inner child is healed. Working on that, or maybe it is healing, right? I mean, I've worked on relationships with my parents, so that kind of is healed. So then the next most important relationships are the more intimate ones. And I remember acts of service, which is something that I'm struggling with now in terms of accepting help, which means other people have to do for me, right? Acts of service other people have to do for me, and that's what I'm working on. And I remember thinking and feeling like in some of my old relationships, it was just with, and it wasn't just with my ex, it was with like a lot of people, how much I gave in terms of acts of service, how much I gave for them, for events, for birthday parties, just how much I gave. And always feeling like there wasn't that reciprocal you know, like it was like I gave too much, which I take ownership over, right? Not saying no, always yes, seeing everything. So I thought that was really interesting, but also that it's like almost leveling it out. And I remember when I had group supervision for clinicians, I introduced an intervention for high schools and teens, which was a strengths assessment. It kind of helped you find multiple intelligence quiz, and it helped to just kind of highlight where their strengths were, what their interests were. So it was like some people are very musically inclined, some more mathematically focused, some are more social, so it worked great with middle school and high school students because they loved learning about themselves. So it was a great intervention just to get to know themselves, and then as a clinician how to get to know them. But I noticed I did it when I was younger, like in college, and then I did it again later on, and then someone else also did it because we practiced that intervention in group, and the question came up, what happens if, because it rates everything, so there's no right or wrong answer, it just kind of rates everything on a scale, each intelligence and how strong it is. And for some of us it kind of was also leveling it out. And then the question came up, well, what does that mean? The only answer I could give was, well, it makes sense that as you get older, as you experience other things and you learn your likes and dislikes, and if you're open to all experiences, right, equally, then you become very well-rounded. And so it's this like neutral effect almost, right? Where you're not polarized, but rather it just levels out. And so I'm wondering if eventually this love language quiz, that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal, where you want to emotionally be leveled out to where you're not really lacking anything, right? Where nothing really speaks more than the other, but you're just kind of like everything means the same, right? That there's no there's just this neutral effect. And I talk about, can you love just to love without having to be in someone's presence, but then that extends to all of the other love languages, without having to give, without having to receive, right? Without having to touch, without having to say anything, but just existing, right? Just being. I wonder. So I thought that was neat. So I wanted, I'm reading 3 books at once. This was the book that I was talking about before, The Sacred and the Profane, The Nature of Religion, The Significance of Religious Myth, Symbolism, and Ritual Within Life and Culture by Mircea Eliade. And it was originally in French and got translated to English. No. Originally translated from the French into German, and then, well, I guess now it's in English, right? Because then I can read it. But this is what it looks like. But it's really fascinating so far. I'm also reading The Chasers of the Light, poems from the Typewriter series, which are really nice. So I've been, tagging what I like. And then I started listening to Jordan Peterson. His YouTube channel. I bought this book. I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet. I don't know why I was avoiding it. But I'm gonna read it now. Because I listened to something that he talked about in terms of why the feminine is referred to as chaos. And I think that's probably like the name of his second book or something like that. But what I was curious was that, just the scandal. Like, it's the scandal of feminist and this labeling and you know, when all he's doing is really just restating information that already exists, is my understanding. I haven't really read, I'm going to read his work and listen a little more, but coming from an ex-feminist, because I was a hardcore feminist growing up, it's interesting to hear him talk because it's still very polarized. And I don't know if there's a talk that he gives about the union of both, because he talks about Taoism and he talks about the yin yang, but he doesn't talk about the union of it. Like it's separate. And so I need to read his stuff. I need to read his stuff to really understand his mindset before I say anything and before I judge. But he came up in you know, sometimes when I was just curious. And you know, he talks about how a lot of people make comments to him without reading. So I want to make sure I read before I comment on that. But anyways, I'm taking advantage of this solar eclipse energy thing because I mean, in the middle of the day, I just felt it, like this heaviness almost, and I took like an hour nap, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Because I've been sleeping, you know, taking care of myself to rebalance myself. So I slept well, and I don't know, out of nowhere, I just felt this heaviness, and I remember waking up, and it just felt like the heaviness was like, like I couldn't get out of bed, and I am a little more swollen than usual. So like it has to do with something. So I listened to Christina Lopez's message or new video on this solar eclipse, and it made sense. I was just like, okay, I'm not crazy. So there's that. So I'm taking advantage because it is the solar eclipse new moon in Gemini, which is my sun sign, and Gemini is a more masculine energy, and so I've been feeling more productive in terms of taking care of me and what I need to do, and realizing, right, that I have all the answers, and no one's my savior but myself, and my value and my worth, and making sure, right, I set those limits and boundaries and rebalance myself with these new experiences, and making sure I don't overgive in a situation, or what I tend to do is change up my schedule for someone, and no, I'm learning that that's not okay. I'm valuable, my time is valuable, what I'm doing is valuable. So I purchased the stuff for like the voiceover stuff. So we'll see how that goes. I'm signing up for the stuff that my friend 2 months ago, the links he sent me, I'm gonna sign up for that to just do some extra cash here and there. I reached out to Kelsey regarding posing nude because I really want to embrace, you know, feeling comfortable in my skin, and really more for me. I got my pictures back, my boudoir pictures. Wow. I was like, whoa, I look good. My friend did a really good job, and so I am, you know, I'm excited about that. I'm excited that I did that, you know, with him, and just how comfortable I felt. And so now I'm gonna jump in, take the plunge, and, you know, see if this painter acquaintance still needs a person, and embrace that and jump in as motivation too, right? Because I'm working on saying goodbye to large March, which is my stress belly for those of you that don't know. And I think this will really help me stay accountable with that. And yeah, so I have a lot going on. And it seems fun, and I feel like I'm getting more balanced. And I'm seeing the synchronicities. I'm seeing, you know, 333 and, you know, 555, 444. I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them. So I'm on the right track. I'm on the right track. But alright, it's 10 o'clock. I need a sage. you do my intentions, finish up, because I got an early start for the day tomorrow. All right, bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So